Okay, so what did we do? XML to Oracle. We imported XML as source, and we also did XML parser. Okay, then we loaded data from Oracle to XML using XML generator. Then we did normalizer, where we covered ECID and GCID and GKID. Okay, what else did we do yesterday? Normalizer, XML as source, XML as. What else did we do? Is that it?
I think that's it. We just we were looking at some questions from the
Oh,
interview.
then we also did. We also did XML with the hierarchy information. Right? This one you import it as a different way.
Yeah, we did that.
And then we have to use joiners and join on the the primary key and foreign key of the different groups in the XML, the different sections in the XML, and then you load it on load it to target table. Okay. So let's move on. This is our 43rd class and 27th Informatica class. This is like GCID and JKID. See, this is sequence, and every time a topic completes, the counter resets. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So today what we are going to do is I'm going to show you how to generate that file dynamically, both at the mapping and session level. Then I'll show you what is that? Transaction control. Okay. So let's get started. So who is missing? Kamran. Ali did not join. Ali, yeah, he did not join. Who else is missing? Yeah.
Team is complete, 10 people.
No. Today Zoeb joined. Wasim joined. Ali is missing, right?
Yes, Ali is missing.
Ali is missing, and
Mustafa is missing. Oh, Mustafa is here.
Mustafa is there. Irfan is there.
Irfan here. There is one guy, Yasin.
Yes.
And Yasser.
Yasin is not going to join. Yasser is going to join. Okay. And you can watch recording. So let's get started. Okay. I want to load data from a table to flat file. Okay. I want to load data from table to flat file. Okay, you guys already know how to do it, right? So how do you load data to a flat file, from a table to a flat file? So let me create a table here. create table temp underscore 8 underscore 2 temp ID number temp name varchar 215 depth ID number. You know how to create a table. I'm going to insert data into it. So I will say let me actually use this. Create table state underscore sales. Okay. State underscore ID is number. State underscore name. Varchar 215 and sales. And you can just say number again. Let me insert some data into this. Insert into state sales values. One comma CA comma 100. Insert to NY. Yeah, I have data like this. I want to load this data to a flat file. It's very easy, right? You have done it so many times. So how will you load data to flat file? Okay, let me import the structure of source. And let me import the structure of, I'll drag and drop my source here and convert this to flat file. Save again. Control S. Now I will create a mapping. I'm going to state underscore sales. Okay, let me drag and drop this. I'm not using shortcuts. Okay, so this is how you load data from table to flat file, right? Make sure this is insert. Make sure this box is checked. Make sure this is one. Reading data from a Oracle table. So connection is there. Loading data to flat file. So I will say output field names and output. I'll convert this to .txt. Let me load data into target tables, target files. Let me create a transaction control. In my target, I want to load data into this. Okay. And then what am I missing? Source connection is there. Target file. I said output field names. This.txt. So what else am I missing here?
Customize the properties. You go to the
Yeah,
config
you
object.
have to have custom property. Otherwise, you will see
Yeah, the header hash.
the hash symbol. Okay. So you will see the hash symbol. So where do you put the custom property? You go to config object, and you see custom properties here. You have to type in remove output header hash. Otherwise, you will see.
Hashtag.
Yeah. So I'm going to run it without making changes. Start workflow. So I'm extracting data from a table and loading to a flat file. I will see this hash symbol. So to get rid of that hash symbol, I'll just go here, config object, go to custom properties. Yeah, it's in interview question. Remove output header hash. Value will be yes. Apply. Okay, that hash symbol is gone. Okay. Now, if I want to change the file name, okay, if I want to change the file name, I can go down here and say state underscore sales underscore 123. If I run this, so we are passing the file name at the session level, right? See, a new file is generated. But my requirement is every time I run the workflow, a new file should be generated. Right now, if I run the workflow 10 times, the same file will be generated, the same file name will be generated, right? Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you run a workflow every time and then the file name keeps changing without actually coming here and making changes? Okay, without actually coming here and making changes, right? Every time you'll have to check out this, make changes here, and then check in this, right? We don't want to do that. So every time we run workflow, we want some changes. Okay, so right now you know how to pass the mapping name, the target name at the target file name at the session level. Let's do it at mapping level. You can pass the output file name at the mapping level. So go to target. This is your flat. This can only be done for flat files. So double click on flat files, go to columns, click on the last column, and do you see this last option here? So a column will be generated called file name string 255. Okay, you cannot create and say file name. This will not work. You cannot type something and say 256. No, this will not work. It has to be this option. Control S. Okay. Do you see the file name here? So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to get an expression, because if I have a column in my target and not present in,
Abdul, I'm sorry, do we do it in a shortcut folder first?
yes,
Or we do it? Okay.
no, I'm not using shortcut. So if you are using shortcut, you'll have to do it in shortcut folder. Anytime any changes have to be made to source and target, it has to be done in shortcut folder. Okay. Now, do you see the file name? So let's drag and drop here. Make this as an output port. The file name can only be 255 characters. It cannot be bigger than that. Over here, I will say, I will say, this is the file name I'll pass. So right now, what is the file name I'm passing? State underscore Okay, so look, this is the file name I'll pass. State underscore and then pipe 2 underscore sorry. And I want to have the timestamp there. So every time I run the workflow, it should say sales underscore 8 underscore 2 underscore 2020 underscore 10 underscore 28, something like that. So I cannot, this is a varchar field, so I cannot just type in date here. So I will have to type in 200. So I want to convert date to a character. So I will say sys date. So I want pd yy underscore hh underscore mi underscore ss. So validate, say okay, say okay, say apply, say okay. This is how you generate a flat file dynamically at the mapping level. If I run this workflow, 2 files will be generated, one at the mapping level and one at the session level. Do you see this file? Sales. So 2 files will be generated. See. Oh, I was supposed to put, so okay. So this one got generated, but I supposed to put underscore .txt also. Let me go back here and then say pipe. Get rid of these files. See, I'm attaching the timestamp, right? I'm attaching the timestamp. So one file will be generated at the session level, one file will be generated at the mapping level. So I want to get rid of this file. Every time I run the workflow, this will be generated. So I want to get rid of this. How can I do that? I can simply go here, components, and post session success. I can say non-reusable. I will say delete session, the file generated at the session level, right? So delete session file. I can say del, copy this entire thing, backslash. So once the session completes, it will delete that file here. Let me delete now only the map, the one generated at the file generated only at the mapping level will show up here. See, you won't even see it got inserted and deleted very quickly. Okay, so now I only see the file generated from the mapping level. If I run this workflow again, I will see another file with a different name now. See, I'm seeing a file with a different name. So every time I run the workflow, the files are generated dynamically based on some condition, right? Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
So every time I run the workflow, a new file is generated. A new file is generated. So this is how you change the file name dynamically. Okay. The same condition, whatever you typed here, you can also do it. And actually delete this. You can actually delete this, and you can also do it in another way. Same thing, but that one is built into the session. This one is external. Don't just leave it at command 1 or command 2. Just always type in delete session default file. You're deleting the file which is getting generated by default at the session level. Also give this a proper name. Okay, don't just leave it as command. So let's say delete file session generated something. Okay, and then double click on this and say previous task status equals to succeeded. Okay, if you do the same thing at the session level, you will say post session success command and say not easy. So this one means this one only run if the session completes successfully, right? So the same condition, you're actually typing it here. Run this only if the session completes successfully. Same thing. Those two options are the same. Okay. Now, see, it got generated and got deleted. Did you see that?
Yes.
Run the workflow again. See? Wait, why did this not get deleted? That is weird. Oh, now it got executed.
Deleted.
Okay.
It's deleted.
Yeah, it took some time. Okay, same
Probably
thing.
it's running, sometimes workflow running after succeeded the session. That's why it wait everything done, then it later.
It looks
So
like
after
this
this,
one's slower.
slightly, of course, it's going to be slower, right? Because this is external, and then it has to pass this condition, and then come here and execute. Over here, it does it at the session level only. But this over here, you're doing it at the workflow level, like outside the session. But they are both the same things, right? If somebody says, I want to, okay, I'll cover that later. Okay. So is that clear how to generate flat file with the name passed at the mapping level?
Yes. I just don't know when to use which,
Okay, yeah, that's the second part. That's the second part. I'm coming to that. Okay, now this was actually, there was nothing to teach you. Okay, interview question. Let me ask you this interview question. I'm extracting data from a table which has, is Fahad there on the call? He was asking me this. Okay, Fahad is not there. So this is an interview question. My requirement here is I have 50 states in the country, right? And every day sales are generated only in few states. Okay, so on day one, it can be generated in these states. On day two, it can be generated only in these two states. Day three, it can be generated in none of these states, but in Florida, day four, 0 sales in all states. My requirement here is I want to generate file for every single state. Okay, I want to generate files for every single state. On day one, how would you do that? I have data in a table. I would to generate files for these 3 states. How would you do it?
We can create a parameter file
Why would you create a parameter file?
to pick the state names for the generation.
Why are you making it complicated? Just put a router here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting you guys to answer this. I'll put a router.
You're gonna create 50 groups.
Yes. So that is not actually okay. So somebody would say, yes, I'm going to create 50 groups. So first group will be NY, and I will say state name equals
Every
to,
time, like if you don't have to generate the set file, right? I mean,
so what's the problem
it
with
is
this? What's the problem with this? The way we are doing this. So for CA, if there are 50 states, I can create 50 different groups here. And on day one, if I get data for this one, this one, and this one. There will be 3 files generated for this. But for the rest of the 47 states, there will be zero KB files, right? Right?
Yes, we don't need to create.
Is that clear to everyone? So first way of doing this is I can create 50 states. Whatever states data comes in, that will generate. So I will have 50 groups in the router and 50 flat files as target. 50 flat files as target. When I run the workflow, one file will have 1 CA100, second file will have 2 NY200, third file will have 3 Texas 300. For Florida, it will be 0. For every other state, it will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Because there is no data for that. I don't want to do that. If there is no state does not have a sale, I don't want to generate a file for that. How would you do it? Okay.
Can we check the file?
So, so if I don't want, so on day one, I received data for CA, NY, and Texas. So on day one, I will create a router with only these 3 states. On day 2, I have data for only these 2. I cannot log into my mapping and delete NY and then run the workflow, right? It's too much work. On day 3, I have data for only 3 on 1 and 2. So I will have to create this one, keep this one, and delete this one if I don't want to generate 0 KB files for the states which are not generated, right? Too much work. Powercenter should be able to do it by itself. Okay, Powercenter should be able to do it by itself. Did you guys understand the problem here? My question is,
Yes, it should be
I have,
automated.
yes, I have. My question is, I want to generate files for only the states which are present in my source table. If there is some other, if there is no sales, I do not want to generate 0 KB files. Okay, if there is no, for example, today Florida does not have a sale, I don't want to generate a 0 KB file. If I create a router with so many groups and 50 flat files, 3 of them will have data, 47 of them will be 0 KB. It will be empty. Okay, so how would I do it? Okay, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Okay.
Can we check after like post session success and see which files are zero size and delete them?
That is one way. That is one way of doing it. Generate all the files, data, and the 0 KB files, and run a post session script and delete all the 0 KB files. Good. That's one way of doing it. Okay. But why do you even want to generate and then delete, right? Why do you even want to generate and then delete? Okay.
In this case, it's gonna still read all the data even though it's 0. So it means that workflow is gonna run, then delete all of the empty files.
Yes, correct. Workflow will generate 50 files. I don't even want to generate 50. That's one way of doing it, but I don't even want to generate 50 files. I only want to generate 3 files and don't even want to generate the other 47. Okay. So how do I do it? If you guys did the rank transformation mappings using expression, you will understand this. Okay. So I have data coming in like this: 1 CA100, 2 NY. So my requirement is the next time a state comes in, I should generate a new file. Next time a new state ID comes in, I want to generate a new file. So I want to store the state ID as a variable, and or I can call this v underscore previous state ID. V underscore previous state ID. I'll store this as a variable. This is double 15, and I'll pass the state ID as is here. Okay.
Are you gonna use the rank?
No, I'm not going to use rank. That's how we did in rank transformation, right? Okay, and then I will create v underscore state underscore flag. I'm going to create it as flag, and I'll create this as integer, and I will say IIF if v previous state ID not equals to state ID, then 0, otherwise 1. Okay. First record comes in 1 New York 100. What will V state flag will be? If V previous state, so what will V previous state ID will be? It will be null, right? Because when the record comes in for the first time, these will be there. This will not be there. So it will be if New York not equals to California, then 0. Okay, but New York is not equals to California, right? So we will assign the value 0. Okay, and then V previous state ID we will pass NY. The next record coming in is to California 100. To California 200. So what will V state flag will be? This time V previous state ID from the time before will be NY. So NY not equals to CS 0 and 1. Okay. And now I will pass this. I will pass this as an output port. Did you guys understand what I was just trying to explain? We did the same thing in expression,
Yes.
the rank transformation.
Abdul, in this case, let's say that like if they give us the repeat the row, repeat data, so it's gonna read the repeat. So we don't need the repeat. Can we use that sales? That if the sales is not the equal to the previous
Good
sales.
point. I was hoping somebody would ask that. Okay. This. Okay. What if I have data like this? No. What if I have data like this again? Okay, what if I have data like this? So first it will read this record, create a flat file. It will read this because the next record coming in is not same as the previous state ID. It will create a new file for this. The new record will come in. It will create a new flat file for this because the previous state ID is not equal to this. Problem is this one will come in. So 3 flat files created, one for CA, one for NY, one for Texas. Problem is this one will come in, but we already created a flat file for CA. So it will again create a flat file for CA. Okay. To fix that problem, you should use a sorter before the expression. You should use a sorter before expression.
Distinct.
And sort on not distinct. Why would you use distinct? Why? What if this was 200? One CA 200. There are two stores in California state. You will sort on state ID. So you will have 1 CA 100, 1 CA 200, then 2 NY 3 Texas. So when the first record comes in, it will have 0. When the second record comes in, previous state equals to the current state, right? So it will pick up the value 1. Is that clear?
So why don't we put over there the second statement in the if, that like if this one that, and plus we can add the second if for the state, then they can start to match that. Let's say if it's the previous one is not the same, put the 0. Later then if the California is again the repeat California and go to the sales, then check the sales. If the
So you are saying put sales also here?
over there, then we can add that. Yes.
No, then it will generate 2 files, one for 1 CA 100, one for another 1 CA 200, right?
No, but you put that 0 and 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so why you
Okay,
are
hold on. Let me complete this. You'll understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
Roll back this. So currently I just have data like this. Okay. Let me complete this. You'll understand. So applies, say okay. Okay, let me get transaction control. So what does transaction control do? It will check incoming record for a condition. If it's satisfied, only then it will let it proceed. Otherwise, it will not works. It does not work like a filter. It will reject. It will keep rejecting those. Kind of like a filter. It will check for an incoming condition. Okay. I'm going to make this as state flag. I'll go to this properties. Over here, I will type in IIF and then say if v state flag equals to 0, then PC underscore commit 4. Otherwise, TC continue transaction. Okay, I'll explain what this means. Let me map this to the target. Let me create a file name. Let me create this as an output. So I will say so I should see ca underscore. I want to see the files as ca.txt. I want to see ny.txt. I want to see florida.txt. So I will say sorry, not sales. I will say state name pipe. Say okay. Say apply. Say okay. Map this here. Map this here. So when I run my workflow, make sure that nothing is here. Okay. So when I run my workflow, okay, I have one flat file for CA. I have one flat file for NY, and I have one flat file for Texas. Why is this not getting deleted? The workflow still running? Okay, it's still running. Okay, it deleted. So did you see, for every state I generated a new flat file? Problem is what Ramil just said. For example, if another state has 200 and I will execute this and I will do a commit. Let me get rid of all these files. Now my data is like this. My data is like this. So this file will be generated, this file will be generated, this file will be generated. Again, a brand new file for this one will be generated. Okay, so we have a problem here now. I mean, only one file will be generated, but it will not have both the records in it. It will overwrite. Okay, so first flat file was created, CA flat file was created with one CA 100. Second flat file was created with, it overrode the first flat file. So that's the reason you only have 3 flat files. The problem here is, so you guys understood this, right? If the current incoming state is not equals to the previous state, then assign the value 0. But if you put a sorter here, and then sort on the state IDs, use a sorter here and sort on state IDs, ascending or descending, it can be anything. Now all Californias will be loaded in one flat file, because what is the flag we are generating? So the second record, when it comes in, it is equals to the previous state ID, right? So it will be value 1. And what are we doing for value 1? If it's 0, we are saying, commit the file. That means end of file, no more records for that same. But I'm saying if it's not equals to 0, if it's 1, then continue to load that file with the same value. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so we are assigning values 0 and 1. If it's 0, that means a new state came in, right? If it's not 0, that means 1. Continue to load the data into the same file. Continue that transaction, whatever you're doing, continue that transaction, right? So quickly, first record comes in. First record is 1 CA 100. So 1 CA 100, and this one will be previous state ID. If the record comes in, this will be null. So null is not equals to state ID. Okay, so we will not have 0. We will say 1. Second record comes in, 1 CA 200. So previous state ID will be 1 only, right? From the time before. So 1 not equals to 1. So you will not load 0. You will continue to load 1. So you will say continue that transaction. The third record comes in, 2 New York 200. So previous state ID was 1. So 1 is not equals to 2, right? Then you will say 0. 0 means commit, and if it's 0, then we are saying commit and then end it. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so let me refresh this. I added a route sorter. Did I already refresh this? Where is my sorter? Oh, maybe I did not save it here. Now it is.
So do we, as I see it, we have to use the transaction control transformation, right?
Yeah. So it will ensure that if the incoming record is matching some condition, it will load it. Otherwise, it will stop and say, okay, you should be loaded in the next one. Okay, let me get, okay, I deleted all of these and let me run the workflow again. So this one will get deleted. This is an interview question. Now CA will have both. New York will have one record. Texas will have one record. Now, if I insert a new value here, 4 FL and then 400, Florida 400. Okay, if I run this workflow now, see, Florida got generated by itself. I did not have to generate Florida. Okay, now we move all these files to archive folder. We move all of these files to archive folder. For example, suppose we have an archive folder here.
You can see the post session script.
Yeah, in the post session script, you can move everything to archive folder. Okay, now on day 2, I do not have delete from this table where state ID in 1,2. Okay, and then I have data for PA as well. So on day 3, there is no data in, there is no sales in, there is no sales in 2 states, and actually there is data sales in an extra state. If I had a router, I would have to delete NY and CA and add PA, right? That is one problem. The other problem, if you had 50 states, today you would generate files for these 3 and 47 other would be 0 KB. But the logic which we built in, it will automatically, like somebody else said, right? You can generate all 50, but at the post session, you can write a delete. Yes, you can do that, but that's not the best way of doing it. So why do you even generate 47 empty files and then delete it, right? So now if I run my workflow, you will see data generated only for these 3. Is that clear to everyone? Short interview question. Fahad keeps asking me, when are you going to explain this? When are you? You didn't join today.
I'm here, Abdul Bhai.
Okay. So did you understand that?
Yes, I did.
Sequence generator, is it clear? Okay. So here, can I move on?
Yes.
Okay. So I showed you how to generate. How to generate the file name at the mapping level, right? So I'm generating files like this. What if I want to generate? I want to add the timestamp also, because when I look at the file, I don't know which day's data it is, right? So best thing you can do is go here and CA underscore, I will say 2_char. I want to add the timestamp also. I will say sysdate dd underscore yyyy underscore dd underscore yyyy underscore hh underscore mi underscore ss. This will get deleted. Oh, it's taking really. If you put it at the session level, you won't even see that. You'll only just see this. Do you see? Florida file was generated. Okay, let me put an underscore after FL. I mean, this is okay, but let me put a underscore.
Abdul, can you show also how to unzip file and then load it to the database or the
That was the
flash drive?
assignment. That was the assignment.
Which assignment was it?
Yeah, when
Where
we did the list file. Remember, I said you'll get a file which will be zipped. You will have to write a pre-session script to unzip the file. That was assignment. Very easy. Okay. Now I will run this. Because at work you will not get like we get like thousands of files. They're not going to send us thousands of files. They're going to zip and send us 2 files. We have to unzip them and then load data and then move the zipped files to the archive. Unzip them, create a list file, then load data, and then delete the files and move the unzipped files to archive folder. Okay, so now, yeah, we see underscore. Every time I run the, I deleted the wrong one. So you will receive in your source directory, they'll send you one big zip file. You will have to unzip it. Okay. Do you see FL underscore P underscore Texas underscore? So if I run this now again, I will get new set of files with different names in it. So this is how you generate flat files dynamically. Okay, this one will get deleted. Okay, please do this one. This is in interviews, they're asking this. Same question they'll ask. The same example, if I have 50 states, the moment you hear the 50 states, you have to know, you have to use transaction control and expression. Is this clear to everyone? Now, let me show
Yes.
you how to do it. Clear? Okay. Let me show you how to do this at the workflow level. Okay, let me show you how to do this at the, like, my requirement here is I want to generate a file which will have different names every time. Okay, which will have different names every time. Okay, so mapping copy as underscore, I will say session level. I'll get rid of all of this. Can only generate one file. Okay. Session, see, in mapping, you can use expression and pass different conditions here, right? At the session level, you cannot use an expression and pass different values there. Okay, so I'll show you. I don't know if this will give me an error if I don't pass any values here. Okay, that's okay. Let's try this out. So I'm loading data from a table to one single flat file. The single flat file should have different names there. Okay, so I will say generate workflow, next, and then finish. Go here. Okay, make sure this box is selected. This is all inserts. Stop and error is always 1. Reading data from the, source is a table. Loading data into, okay, I should say head output field names, the config object, and custom properties. Otherwise, I'll load hash as the first record. Remove output header hash. Okay. And my target file. Okay. So, what is my target file name? Output file name is state_sales. If I run the workflow 10 times also, you will only see. If I run the workflow 10 times also, you will only see the same file generating. I want to see different files. If I run this, oh wait, I want to load it in transaction control. I'm loading it into the generic target file. Okay, I don't want to load it in target file. I want to load it in run_control at the target file level. Say okay. You shouldn't be loading files into the generic target folder because so many people will be loading. You should have a separate folder. Okay. If I run this workflow 10 times also, the same file will be generated. Okay, the same file will be generated. So how do I pass the timestamp at the session level? Okay. So first go to workflows, edit. Do you see variables over here? Say $timestamp. Okay. And this will $timestamp is going to be string. Okay, say apply, say okay, Control S. Where will you pass the value for $timestamp equals to sysdate, right? In the previous one we were doing at the mapping level, right? Over here we were saying times is equals to sysdate, 2char sysdate. So where can I do this part? Where can I do this part at the session level? Okay. So one way of doing it is like Turab was asking, can you explain this session tasks also? I'm going to use, there is something called as an assignment operator. So assignment, in this you can assign values. $timestamp equals to, I'll just simply copy paste that here. Okay, and then I will say status equals to, see that if you have a session here, then you will say, and then if you want to run something after a session, you will say previous task status equals to succeeded. If you have just a task, then you will say task equals to succeeded, status equals to succeeded. If you had a session after, so for example, if you have something like this here and you want this to run after this one, so there is a difference here. This one you should say previous task status equals to succeeded. Anything after a session, you should say previous task status. Anything after any other tasks, you should just say status equals to succeeded. Sorry, not here. You just say status equals to succeeded. Okay, you guys know where to use previous task status and status, right? Anyways, so over here, I said $timestamp equals to, so I, first of all, I have to generate $timestamp, and then I can pass this from a parameter. Okay, I'm not, this is like my parameter file. Over here I'm saying $timestamp equals to 2char sysdate. Okay, then that $$ timestamp, I think you can pass the value here also, 2char or something. I don't know. Let's try that. Okay, so I will go to my target files. Do you see state_sales.txt? So I want to insert my timestamp here. So every time I run the workflow, it will generate a new file. So let me run this. See, it generated a new file. So if I run this again, automatically it will generate a dynamically it will create a brand new file. The timestamp, we are passing it at the session level. Is that clear? So first thing what we did was create a go to variables, create $$ timestamp, and just make it a string. Second thing you will do is create an assignment operator. Over here you can assign values. Okay, so $$ timestamp is equal to, we are assigning this value. Then we are using that at the over here. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, it's clear. Abdul, when you create the variables, then let's say you create a connection, database connection, right? You assign the value. You don't have to have the parameter file there.
No, that one will be consistent, right? That one connection will always be HR. You cannot keep changing that one, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You cannot change it.
Yeah, it's going to become
Anyway, you have to come to the workflow level to change it.
yeah. So let me try this one. I've never tried this one. So I'm passing values here in the assignment operator. Let me get rid of this. Let me see if I can pass values here only. Two underscore. Let me try that actually. So what I do here, I created a $$ timestamp, and I'm saying the value should be 2char sysdate, this one. Then I'm using that $$ timestamp at my session. So let me get rid of all these files here. No, it's actually taking the literal.
Abdul, you put the bracket over that, that's why. Can you go back to the, no, you remember where did you paste the last one? You gave, yeah, there, you see there's a bracket, is it correct?
Bracket? Where are the brackets? Yeah, I have bracket here. 2char sysdate.
Oh.
Okay, I don't think you can assign values like that over here.
The bracket is for the 2char.
Yeah, the bracket is for 2char. What if I get rid of 2char sysdate? What if I just assign values sysdate here? I don't think that will work. Let me try that. This one. Let's see. No, it's taking the literal value. It's taking sysdate and 2char. Okay, we cannot assign values here. Okay, we cannot assign values here. You can assign value like this. For example, you can assign values like
the file name, for example.
9.
No, you can put the file name here also, right?
File name? Yeah, you can put the complete file name here. No, but it's not taking in sysdate. So let me assign value 9. Yeah, it will take 9, but it will not keep changing. It will not keep changing a value. If you put sysdate, it will not take in sysdate there. Okay, so let's not do it here.
Maybe you should put the $$ sysdate.
Dollar sys no. Sysdate actually has a value to it. You cannot assign a value again to sysdate. Okay, so I just wanted to test it out. Okay, don't even go there. I mean, play around with it if you can figure that out, but we will simply assign that value over here. TrueCare sysdate. So we will assign mmdd yyy underscore hh underscore mi underscore ss. Bracket here. The advantage of doing it at the session level is the default value or the default session level file will not be generated. Remember, we were deleting that 123.txt something, because at the session itself, you're saying generate this file. So the default file which was getting generated, and we won't have that problem. The default file which was getting generated at the mapping level when we were loading dynamically the files at the mapping level, you won't have that problem here. But this one can be very limited. You cannot do a lot of things here. Like we cannot pass the state name, right? CA, NY. Right now you can only generate one file which will say state underscore sales. Previously we were doing, see for example, we were doing CA, FL, NY, that because this is the state, that column state, the state name, we cannot, you can do it at the mapping level. There is no way to click here to say add the state to it, right? So that's why if you want to generate,
You can assign the value in the session level also.
assign the
You
value.
remember it didn't take the C state, and we can put the CA there.
Okay. So
Uh-huh.
it will only create CA. What if I have multiple states? FL,
No,
NY,
because there is no any input or over there in the session level that we can we can click and say that all the time change the state ID. So
yeah,
in mapping
so
we
over
have
here,
this one.
see over here I'm saying state name pipe 2char. I cannot say state name pipe 2char at the session level, right? Because over here you do not look at the columns. You cannot look at the columns at the session level.
Yeah, mapping is more flexible.
Mapping is more flexible. You can pass the state name, you can pass whatever you want. Clear? So I covered transaction control, and I covered how to pass the file name at the mapping level. So you need to select this box. If you go to targets, when you're loading data to a flat file, you should always select this box. Okay, you cannot create an output port and say file name varchar 255 and something like that. Okay, so this is one workflow, the session task. Okay, you can, like the word assignment, you can assign values here. Okay, don't just give it the random name assignment. Say assign sysdate variable. Sorry. Assign sysdate to a variable. Okay. So if somebody is looking at your code, they shouldn't have to open and check, okay, what is he assigning here? Oh, he's assigning the sysdate to timestamp. Maybe he's using this timestamp somewhere else. Okay. Just by looking at your code should not just work. It should also look good. Clear? Can we move on? So let's see. Update strategy, expression. See, expression is like you can do like hundreds of thousands of things. So it's the most powerful transformation. Okay, so you're done with this, 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 done with this. Stored procedures, please look into it. So custom transformation, I don't even know what it's used for. I mean, I've never used it in my life, so I don't know what it's used for. So I'm not even going to give you some wrong answer, okay? So nobody will ask you questions on this. Joiner, normalizer, rank. Okay, let's do maplet input and maplet output.
Abdul,
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna take a break 2:30.
we'll take a break in 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take a break in 11 minutes, okay? Now, okay, I have like 5 mappings. I have 5 mappings which is using the same code. Okay, I have 5 mappings which is using the same code. This sorter, expression, and transaction control. Okay. So for example, this mapping copy as _1. Okay, and let me go back to this one. Again, this, I have the same code in 3 different mappings. I do not have to create the same logic 3 different times. Maybe their sources and targets are different, but the logic they're using is the same. So what can I do here? Okay, so how can I, so I don't have to create this code 3 times, just like UDF. Do you guys remember UDF and variables and shortcut folders? Now for transformations,
Yes.
if it's a reusable transformation, you can create a maplet. Okay, if you scroll down, do you see maplet? Do you see this option? So okay, you can go here and say maplet create and say MPLT. Maplet is always called as MPLT, and then transaction control. Just give it logic. Now, do you see this got enabled? This one and this one. This one got enabled. So drag and drop that here, and drag and drop that here. Okay. Paste your logic here. Control S. Okay, now a brand new maplet got created. Okay, applet is valid. Now you can go here and you can get rid of this. And then you can drag and drop your maplet here. Your input is this. Output is this. Mapping is valid. Is that clear to everyone? Now you can go to the same, you can do the same thing here. Go to sales one. This code, you can make it reusable. Okay. What is the advantage of this? It looks good.
Very
Like,
fast figures, right? Yeah, but
no,
troubleshooting. How do we troubleshoot?
actually, troubleshooting will be more difficult because you would have to actually go, if you don't know what it's doing here, you'll have to go to another screen and see what it's doing here. Right? What's the advantage? What is the advantage? Tomorrow, if I do not want to use timestamp, I just want to say state_.txt. if I get rid of that in the maplet, that logic will be automatically applied to all the 3 mappings. You will not load sysdate along with the state name. Okay, maintenance is going to be very easy. You can just maintain one copy of the code and you can control it from there. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, same thing over here. Same thing, you have something called as worklet. That is maplet. Okay, over here when you run debugger, right, it will ask you, do you want to expand all the ports in the maplet? Okay, so if you run debugger, okay, it will say, do you want to expand the debugger also? Okay, you can just say yes, and it will show, when you expand debugger, it will show these ports also. Anyways, so let me do this and then we'll take a break. Now, what is worklet? So why do we use worklets? Okay, so not remember that assignment, the facts and the dimensions assignment we did. The facts and the dimensions
Yes.
assignment we did. We had
6 mappings, and then we put the sequences between them.
I don't know why this one keeps getting merged. Yeah, oh sorry, it's here. So do you remember we had one workflow? We had 3 staging, 2 dimensions, and 1 fact, right? So at my work, I have 100 staging, 80 dimensions, and 40 facts. Your workflow is going to look really messy. You'll have like 100. We have 110 and 110, and then 120, 80, and 40. Okay, 80 staging, 40 dimensions, and there 120 staging. So 120 plus 40 plus 80, so 240 sessions. It's going to look very bad, right? It's going to be very, very, like, it's going to be all over the place. So what we do is we will create a worklet and we will call this as staging worklets. Okay, we will call this as WKLT staging. We will put all the staging. Let me put all the staging. For example, this is my staging. This is my staging. And this is my staging. Okay. Let me just take a simple example. So we did the state, the sales fact, right? What are the workflows we had? Staging,
Store, sales, and
M store and stage. So this is M store and stage, M store and sales. Okay, we will call this as worklet staging. Then we will create another worklet, WKLT underscore dimension. This is what we do exactly at work. So we will use, for example, assume this was the 2 dimensions. One is a store dimension, and the other one is the employee dimension. Okay, then you will have 1 fact. We have 40 facts, so we'll just say WKLT underscore fact. Okay, for example, this one will be the 6th session. Okay, then we will have a workflow. Instead of having 6 sessions there, we'll say WF underscore sales underscore fact, something like that. And you will drag and drop your worklets here. First, staging, dimensions, and fact. First, you will load staging. Then you will load dimension. Then you will load fact. And over here, you will say previous. So only after staging completes, you will load dimension. Only after dimension completes, you will load fact. Right? So this one will look more neat, right? It will look more organized. Otherwise, you will have 3 staging, 2 dimension, 1 fact. So imagine 120 staging, 80 dimensions and 40 facts. So if you want to see what's happening in this stage, you can just right click and say open worklet. Okay, you cannot run worklets. You don't even have the option to run a worklet. You can come here and just run only the staging. You can run only the dimension. You can run only the fact. So after staging loads, we receive an email saying that staging completed successfully. You can do it. So we have something like this. And then we also have something like this. One is for previous task status equals to succeeded. For the failure email, we say previous task status equals to failed. Previous task status equals to failed. Okay, we will send out an email saying that staging failed, please look into it. If this one for success, we send out staging complete. So we will say previous task status equals to succeeded. Previous task status equals to succeeded, and this email we will say session completed. So send it to this person. The subject is staging completed. Email us it's staging completed. Or you can, is that clear? And then for this one we have to, for this one we have to. If you look at, if I open my work thing, this is exactly what we do. Anybody has any questions before we take a break? We didn't do much here, just transaction control and no questions. Generate flat file dynamically, mapping and session one, transaction control. Generate flat file dynamically. Maplet for reusable transformations, section code in mapping, and then I also showed worklets. Yeah, let's take a break and then we'll be back.
Abdul.
Yeah.
Small thing before break. So you said that we cannot say like a one-time start for everything on the worklet, right?
No, I said you cannot run the workflow. I said this will be disabled. If you want to run the entire thing, you can right click and say start workflow. But if you want to run only this section, you can say start task. If you want to run only this section, usually you will never run this one at a time. This will be scheduled to run at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and everything will be run automatically. You will, unless you're trying to fix something in production where something failed in staging, you will only run this, then only run
task. I see.
Yeah. The other thing is, you don't have to, once you run this one and this one, you had a problem with staging, you fixed it. Now you want to run everything from here. You don't have to right click and start task, then you don't have to right click and start task. You can just say right click and say start workflow from task. So it will run this one and this one.
Okay.
Here, you don't have to run this individually. You can just say, once this is fixed, you can either run this one individually and then this one, or you can just right click and say start workflow from task. So it will run everything after this.
I see.
Okay.
Yes.
I also built assignment operator. We will come back and do. We'll come back and do some more operators. I will do event wait after we come back. Okay, let's take a break and then we'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. So let's get started. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have a requirement here. I loaded data from a flat file to a table. Okay. Let me pick up a mapping. Let me make sure this is working. Invalid. Oh yeah, because we added some extra columns. M salary. Yeah, this is. Remember the issue we had yesterday? We were adding a column in the middle and it was failing. So of course it will fail. If you add a column at the end, it will not fail. Okay. I have a requirement. I have to load data from flat file to table, which I'm doing here. Okay. Now, I get a flat file every day, and every day I have to load data into this table, right? There is a downstream team. There is our end users who want to extract data from this table and load it to somewhere else. My requirement is I have to load data from flat file to table. The team downstream of us. Downstream means people who are taking data from your target. This will be your source. They have to load, they have to extract data from this table and load it to some other system. How would they do it? They can have this as a source. They have their target, and then it's automated. Okay, this job is supposed to run every day at 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. in the morning, and their job is supposed to run at 5:30 in the morning. What if we did not receive the files? What if we did not receive the files? So our job, I'll come back to that. We would not load data into this, right? We would not load data into this. Is that correct? So if we do not load data into this, they will extract previous day's data, right? They will extract yesterday's data. We don't want that to happen. Is that clear to everyone? The problem we have here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what do we do? So we tell them that once we load data into this table, we will send you an empty file saying that, okay, it is safe for you to go ahead and pull the data. Unless you receive that file, do not even run your workflow. Is that clear? So what we will do is you can either use a command task, or you can also I prefer going to the components and post session success command, non-reusable, and then just write a statement here. Okay, you can either do that here or you can do it here. Okay, so this one should run only on the success of this one. So you will say previous task status equals to. So when our workflow runs today, we will generate an empty file. It's also called as complete or done.txt, complete.txt or done.txt. Okay, so I will say generate done file or generate complete file. So how do you generate an empty file in Windows operating system? How do you generate an empty file in Windows operating system? So you just type in null complete.txt, or say, let's say null done.txt. In Unix operating system, you do with the help of, who can answer this? How do you create an empty file in Unix? Wasim, Fahad, Turab. How do you create an empty file in Unix?
I don't remember.
Wasim, Fahad. Is Fahad there, or did he join and leave like always?
Yeah, by the touch command.
Yeah, we use touch command. Very good. Okay, how do you create an empty file in Unix? So in Windows, why is it? So dir cd let me go to my desktop. Desktop, okay. So I have all of these files on my desktop, so I will just say nul done.txt. Why does it keep saying access denied? I logged in as administrator. In Linux, we create an empty file using touch command. How do you create an empty file from the Windows? Copy null. Yeah, that's, oh, copy null, not null. Okay, copy null done.txt. Okay, so if I go to my desktop, do you see done.txt, and it's an empty file? Okay, so I will tell them that once we load data into the table, I will generate an empty file in your in any on your ETL server. I will go to your C Informatica. So I'll say I'll generate an empty file at in this. Okay. Either you can do it here or you can do it here. So what? So let me save this. So my workflow will start at 5 o'clock. The file is there. It will load data into the table. And once it loads data into the table, we will generate this empty file and start workflow. Okay, once this session completes, because we put the condition that previous task status equals to succeeded, see, done.file got generated. So we will tell them, do not run your workflow unless you see this. Is that clear? They can start their workflow. They have to put two conditions. They have to say a workflow should start at 5:30. They will schedule to run the workflow at 5:30, and they will also put the condition, look for this file. Okay, you should never put time condition to start a workflow. You should never say a workflow should start at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. There should be some condition, right? What if the source data has not arrived, right? And once they load the data, they will delete that done.txt. So tomorrow I will send them. Tomorrow I will load data from flat file to table and also send them this done.txt. So every day they load the data, they should delete this. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes, Abdul, but I have a question.
I know what your question is.
So let's say if you're gonna create this TXT file in a different server, in their server, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Informatica needs to have access to their server.
Yeah. Just like right now I did not have access. I had to log in as administrator. So yeah, so that one will be done by the networking team. You don't have to worry. All you have to say, I want to send a file from my server to their ETL server. Usually there will be just one ETL server in the entire company. Everybody will be working from the same C Informatica, and that's why you have folders. So you will, if everybody is on the same folder, you don't have to. But if you're sending this to an ETL server out of the company to some other company, so if you're working at Walmart and you want to send this file to Target's ETL server, so your system admin, your Unix admin should work with Unix admin of Target, and they will create a secure connection, and you would be able to send files from so right now I can extract data from this table and load it to a flat file, and I can send it to your computer. I need to know your user ID, password. You have to create a special user ID and password for me, and I need your IP address also. Then I can send it to you as well.
Okay, basically you need to open ticket to the networking team to get access. Okay, not the Informatica admin.
Not Informatica admin, no. Unix admin.
Mm-hmm.
Server admin. Okay. So anyways, we are just talking about within the same company. So if this one belongs to some other department, you send this done.txt to them. Is this clear to everyone? So whenever you're providing data to someone, always provide them a done.txt also. Is this clear?
Yes.
Whenever you're providing data to someone, you should also provide, you cannot just say, okay, here's the data, load it. Whenever you have to tell them that, okay, your data is ready. Please now proceed and do it. Okay. Now, what if you're consuming data from someone? This is like you're providing data to someone, you have to provide done.txt. What if you're consuming data from someone? Okay. If somebody says, so right now we are reading data from which file? This file. Okay. Let me move this to another folder. Let me make the change here. Make sure it works. Okay. What if you're consuming data from somebody? Okay. They would have to provide you this flat file. Apart from the flat file, they have to provide you done.txt, right? Is that clear? Because if your workflow is scheduled to run at 5 o'clock, okay, and you don't have a file here at 5 o'clock because the upstream team has the source team or the upstream has some problems sending you the file. Your workflow will start at 5 o'clock and it will fail, right? And you will have to wake up at 5 o'clock and you have to check, send them an email and all those things, right? So guys, whether you're sending data to someone or receiving data from someone, you're sending data to someone, provide done.txt. If you're receiving data from someone, you should receive done.txt. Okay. The other thing, never put dependency only on time, which is very bad. Always put a dependency on time plus your done.file. Okay. So they should provide you this file, and they should also provide you done.txt. Done.txt will be like an empty file. Okay. So also the sequence they should provide you. This data file should come in first, and then this should come in. Right? Over here, you're extracting data from a table to a flat file. You send the flat file first, and then you send the done.txt. You should not send done.txt first and then the file, because your Powercenter will see done.txt and start running without even receiving the data file. The sequence is you should always receive the data file first and then the done.txt. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now somebody is providing you this file. Yeah, somebody is providing you this file, and then they provide you this done.txt. How do you make sure? Okay, so your workflow will start at 5 o'clock. You schedule this workflow to run at 5 o'clock. This is like when you are consuming data. Okay, the first thing you will do is you will wait for that event. What is the event you're waiting for? User defined. Oh, wait. Please enter the name of the file to watch for. Okay, this is the file you should watch for. Okay. Now if I run this workflow, see, my workflow started, but it will not complete. My workflow started, but it will not complete. It will not. So now see what happens. See, the moment I put done.file, the event wait completed. So you should always receive the data file first and then the done.file. When you receive the done.file, that means the data transmission is complete. Go ahead and pick up this file, and when you receive done.txt, that means your data got the file you received is completed, and then you can pick up the file. Because sometimes when you receive a big file, when you download something from the internet, a huge file called employee, this employee file will already be there on your desktop, but the size keeps increasing, right? So never put a condition on at 5 o'clock and say look for this file, because this file could be getting transmitted from somebody else. You shouldn't just look at the file and pick up the data, and because you load half data. You should always wait for done. This should come in after this gets transmitted. Once that happens, your workflow should first check if that done file is there. The done file means green signal. Go ahead, pick up the data and load it. Okay, and then you should delete this and move this to archive. So tomorrow, so you should delete this. Okay, this one has a built-in thing which says delete the file watch. Okay, so day 2. See, this is what will happen on this is what will happen. Okay, this workflow will start at 5 o'clock. Okay, this workflow will start at 5 o'clock. It will keep running. Okay, now first data file will get moved. Okay, data file will get moved. No, Powercenter will still look for the done. So that means this file is getting transmitted. It's getting transmitted. It's in the process. The size keeps increasing: 1 KB, 2 KB, 3 KB, 4 KB, 5 KB. Okay, once the complete file is done, see what happens here. This file comes in. See, the moment it comes in, that file gets loaded, and this one also gets completed, and then we will archive the file, and this file will get, the done.txt got deleted because I selected this option, delete the file watch. So tomorrow what will happen? So this file will get moved to archive as post. Okay, so tomorrow you will still, so tomorrow the workflow will start again. Okay, it will keep running. What happens if you receive done.txt first? What happens if you receive done.txt first? This one will complete and this one will fail because there is no employee file here, right? So you
Yes.
should always
It's
receive.
gonna be success, but he will not be able to find the emp. Then it's gonna be
Yeah.
fail.
So first you will get this data file. Even after you receive the data file, your workflow will still be running. Okay. Once they complete sending the data file, then they will send you done.txt, which is like a green signal. Go ahead and process your data. We are done transmitting the data. The moment I click yes, this event wait will complete. See, event wait completed, and then it picked up the file and loaded. It's going to load data. Then the done.txt or file watcher gets deleted, and then you will move this to archive as part of post session. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
So when you're sending file, or when you're loading data to a table, or when you're providing data, whether it's a table, flat file, XML, whatever, you have to send a done.txt. Whenever you're consuming data, you have to receive done.txt. And the sequence is data should be loaded first or provided first, and then done.txt. Okay.
Abdul, can we set up with the sys date? If it's the sys date, today's date, then you can pick up the file
Yeah, you can do
instead
that.
of the done.txt.
Yeah, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Same thing, whatever we did previous assignment, right? When you provide a file, you will just put underscore sysdate at the end.
Yeah, it's gonna check the sys date if it's the
Yeah.
today's date.
Or you don't have to do that. Delete the file every day.
Yes.
Right? Delete the file every day or put the timestamp. Two things.
Yes.
You can do it either or. Okay. The advantage of putting the timestamp is you don't have to delete the file. Your Powercenter will look for done _8_2_20.txt. Okay. If you have old files from last month also, it will not. If you have done files from last month also, it will not take, because today it will check for done file which was generated today. You know how to generate a file with the new time, with the timestamp at the end, right?
Yes.
Okay, do either that or this. I do this every day. I load the data, I will delete it because it's already built in. That feature is already built in. So is this clear to everyone? The done.file and done.txt. Event wait and done.txt. Okay. You cannot say I'll extract data from a table and send it to you. Nope. Nope. You have to send a done.txt also, complete.txt or done.txt. Okay. You can either do it you can either do it here, post session success, or you can have like a extra command task and then send it. Is that clear to everyone? So we covered worklet, we covered event wait, we covered session, command task, email. I'm going to we did assignment. I'm going to do decision now. So when do you use decision? Okay, when do you use a decision? Suppose you have a workflow here. Okay, this workflow has so these are my 3 staging. For example, these are my 3 staging. And then I have my 2 dimensions. This is employee staging and this is employee dimension. This is store staging and then this is store dimension. Then I also have my sales fact. So after this one completes, my employee dimension completes, I want to load employee dimension, right? The assignment which you guys did. After I load my store staging, I want to load store dimension. Sorry, not here. Okay. This is my employee staging. This is my stored stage. This is employee dimension, store dimension. This is sales stage. Now I want to load sales fact. So how did you guys do it? You guys put a condition. You just did something like this, right? And then over here, you said previous star status succeeded, previous star status succeeded, previous star status succeeded. Okay. There is a better way of doing it. Okay, there is a better way of doing it. Or if you don't want to put all of these conditions here, right now I have all of these conditions, right? So if you don't want to put all of these conditions here, previous star status succeeded, previous star status succeeded, you can put it in that decision task. If you don't want to put it here, you can go to properties over here. You can say, for example, this is okay, country sales, all of these are my staging and this is my dimension. So over here I can go and say goes to succeeded and you can say equals to succeeded and equals to succeeded. So you can put it for all the decisions and then you can just map this like this. Over here you can say decision status equals to true or succeeded. Okay, this one will run only after these three will run. Okay, but we want to load dimension only after this one completes, right? So it's better to put previous star status equals to succeeded here. You don't want dimension to start if this one fails. Same thing here.
So you cannot do this one in decision one?
Yeah, in decision one, you should just put the dimensions, this one, and this one.
No, I know. But the sequence is the important or not? Which one first, which one? Doesn't matter, right? It just only takes
It's
the dimensions.
and means everything should complete, right?
Yes.
And means everything should complete successfully. So you don't have to put this here.
No. I mean, you cannot put the previous one stage like a just stage is equal to succeed, and then dim is equal to succeed. All of them inside the decision.
Yeah, over here you have to put all of them. Okay, but if you're putting over here, then you just have to put this one and this one in there. Okay, either use this or don't use this. If you're not using this, put succeeded sequence equals to succeeded equals to succeeded equals to succeeded equals to succeeded, and don't use this. Do it the way you did it. If you're not using equals to succeeded here, double click on this, say equals to succeeded and equals to succeeded and equals to succeeded and equals to succeeded and this one equals to succeeded, and the decision is then run the fact. Clear? So tomorrow, for example, you want to run this one only after these four complete. You don't care if this one completes or doesn't complete. All you have to do is just go here, go to properties, and you can either comment this out. You can either comment this out like it's grayed out, or you can say, and instead of saying and, you can just say or. So these are all compulsory, but this is optional, or this one become optional. This is clear to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so we did this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Timer is if you want to, if this after this workflow completes, you want to wait for 10 seconds. Okay, I've never used a timer in my life, but if you want this workflow, this session completed, and if you wait for 10 seconds after that, okay, you can just say timer and say relative times. So if after this job session completes, you want to start this workflow at 8:30. This one completes at 5. You want to do it at 8:30. Then you can say absolute time. After this one completes, do it 8:30. Never depend on time, which is very bad. So say after this one completes, wait for 10 minutes and do it. So after this one completes, wait for 10 minutes from the start of this task. From the time this task starts, wait for 10 minutes and then start this. Or from the start of the top level workflow, from start of this, wait for 10 minutes and then start this. Or this one. After this one completes, wait for 10 minutes. After this one starts, wait for 10 minutes and do this. So you have multiple options here. Okay, I've never used it. Usually whenever a session completes, I want to run the other one. I never want to wait. Okay, but you have that option. So control task. So what does this do? Okay, if this workflow fails, but you want to change the status, control, no, that is, yeah, control task. What does this do? Oh yeah. Okay, correct. So if this entire workflow fails for some reason, but you want to make it as success even after it fails, and just go back and say fail. No, you cannot do success. Actually, you never have to do this. So you can say fail parent, which is this workflow, or stop parent or abort the parent based on some condition. If this workflow doesn't, if this session fails, okay, this one will be success, this one will be success, this will be success, it will be success, this will be success, and this one will be failed. So you can say if this one fail, okay, that doesn't make sense. Let me say,
Abdul,
let me put
okay,
it here.
maybe if we can say like that, if the stage one or the other one is gonna
Yeah.
be fail, abort all of them. Don't go ahead to the flow.
Exactly. If so, for example, if the stage fails, don't even proceed. Okay, even if this condition got satisfied, even if this, we said previous task status equals to succeeded here, so this will automatically run. But over here you said if this one fails, stop or abort or fail everything. So you have other options here: stop, abort, fail, stop parent. Okay, I've never used it. So this one, event create I just showed you. Worklet I showed you. This one, this one, scheduler, Okay, these are all the different tasks here. I have 30 minutes left. I'll probably do SQL transformation and then end the class today. Okay, so I'll be left with you won't do this. I'll do this on Tuesday. I'll do this right now, and that's it. So I'll be just left with HTTP and web services. Web services, you do not have a license. You will have to do it from Informatica Cloud. I'll show you that. Okay, HTTPS and web services, they are both the same thing. They both do the same thing. This is little more powerful, and you have to use less transformation. This is free, and you have to use extra. Of course, when it's free, you have to put in extra work. You don't have a license for this. Okay, no valid license found. This is paid service. This one is free. Informatica Cloud, this one and this one both are free for 30 days. Okay, so we will do that. For all of these, you need a license, but all of these are free in Informatica Cloud. So there is an advantage, guys. Use Informatica Cloud. See, there are other transformations which are not even present here. Who created an account on Informatica Cloud?
I created.
Like, for example, you want to extract data from MongoDB. You don't have a connection in Powercenter. You want to extract data from AWS. If you want to extract data from MongoDB, they have free connections here. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, there are extra new mapping. Even I don't know what these are used for. See, source, target, data masking. See, you can use data masking, expression. You already know, filter, hierarchy builder, and hierarchy parser. I have no idea what this means. On YouTube, there are videos for hierarchy builder, and see over here, hierarchy builder. I have no idea what that means. Data masking, hierarchy builder. If you want to make yourself stand apart from other people, watch the videos for this. Okay, joiner, lookup, maplet, actually normalizer, rank, router, sequence sorter, SQL transformation, structure parser. No idea what that means. Transaction control, I showed you. Union, I showed you. Web services, I'll show you. Okay, so there's something called as deduplicate. There is something called as cleanse. Okay, I mean, there's so many extra features. You go to administrator, you can request for all these. See, add-on connectors. You can request. Oh, that my XML as a source got approved. So Snowflake, I already, if you want to connect to Zendesk, you want to connect to, let's see, what all AWS. Amazon, you have Redshift, S3, Aurora. These are two databases. Redshift, Aurora, these are databases. S3 is the file system. Like, for example, you have a file system here, right? C Informatica 9.6.1 server InfoSheet. You can create, if you want to send a huge file to someone, you can upload it here, copy the link and paste it, just like Google Drive. That's like Google Drive is like a file system, right? So for example, this is like a file system where I can upload all the files. So in my company, they are saying that they will not send us files anymore into our ETL server. They are saying they'll just upload it to, they're saying they'll just upload it to S3, the file system there, and we have to go pick up from there. So that's going to happen in December or January. You have to be ready. So they are going to send the files over. They are going to upload the files. So right now there is a central team which sends files to 13 different universities. So they're saying it's too much work for us. We are going to just upload it here. You have to come and pick up from here. So this is the Amazon S3 is the file system. These are the databases. You have connections for all of these.
So you're gonna need to open an account there in the enterprise level, right?
Yes,
so
an enterprise
have
S3 account. Yeah.
Username.
We already have one, but we were not using it for ETL purpose. We were using it for some other purpose. Guys, every company basically has an AWS account these days. Every single company has an AWS account because it's not just file system or ETL, right? You can do like hundreds of other things. You can do ETL there. You can do database. They have SQL database. They have no SQL database. They have ETL. They have file system. So basically, if you're running a company, right, you can run your company from this one dashboard. If you're running a company, you can run it from this one dashboard. You don't need to hire a data. So see, you have these many databases. You have graphical database. You have no SQL. You have SQL. Suppose if you have Oracle database, okay, they are saying don't worry. You can host your Amazon Oracle database on AWS. So right now I have this Oracle database, right? They're saying you can host your Oracle database. You can host your Oracle database on our cloud. If you have SQL Server, host it here. Okay. When you buy this database has to be installed on the computer, on the server, right? They're saying don't buy a server, don't pay for a server, don't pay the electricity bill for the server. If you have an Oracle application, Oracle database application, just upload it on here. Okay, they're giving you all these options. So you have virtual machines. Okay, I have a virtual machine on my computer. You don't have to have they're saying don't have anything on your computer or on your server. Host everything here. And the best part is tomorrow, if your database needs extra space, it will automatically detect that your database is running out of space, and it will increase it by 10%. You have to put a rule there. If my database has only 10% space left, increase it by another 10%. This is very useful. For example, Best Buy, they buy like 1 GB of space. Suddenly in November, December, January, they need more space, right? If they installed the database on their server, they have to send somebody with extra hard disk. They have to install it before November, December, January, and after January they have to remove that extra hard disk because they don't need that anymore, right? Over here it's automatic. So the moment it detects that your website is experiencing more traffic, it will automatically increase it by 10%. Again, if it sees that more people are placing orders on Best Buy's website and your database is starting to fill up, it will automatically increase by 10%. Then after January, it sees that there is a lot of space left over, so it will automatically reduce. Your pricing will also reduce. When your database size increases, your pricing will also increase automatically. You don't have to tell someone, okay, can you please remove the hard disk? No, everything is automated here. Okay, the file system also, it will automatically increase by 10% or 50%. So in other words, you will never run out of space. You will never run out of space. Okay. You can take as much as space as you want, and without informing anyone, it is all automated. See, you can host a website. What is that? See, database migration service, server migration service. You have a database installed on your computer, you can migrate it using this database migration service. If you have server installed on your own server, you can sell that server and host it here. Okay.
Abdul, have you created connection between S3 and cloud?
Informatica no, with Informatica Cloud, no. I'm going to do that. I'm going to create.
Please send me the screenshot of the connection because I tried, I couldn't be able to do that.
So I'm going to create a bucket here, and I'll just call it something, and then I'm going to upload a file here. I'm going to extract data from. So I will have C Informatica 9.6.1 server InfoSheet SRC files here. I'm going to upload a file here, and with the Informatica Cloud, I want to. So I'm going to actually. Okay, it's automatic. So you should be able to run tasks using this connector. Yeah, in 30 minutes, I can create a mapping. First, I need to create a connection here. I mean, first I need to create an S3 bucket. Okay, which is like a file system. I can give permissions, read, write, and all those permissions. And then I can also create a file there, run a workflow, which will pick up file from, S3 in the Amazon file service in the cloud and load it to Snowflake, which is again a cloud database. Nothing will be installed on your computer or on the server. Everything will be in the cloud. Is that clear? I don't know. I have to try this. It should be pretty easy. See, create a new bucket, upload your data, set your permissions. Create a mapping.
You're doing now.
It did not work?
No, I thought you were doing now. You're going to create a bucket.
No. I'm not going to do it now. I have to finish this first Powercenter. Guys, you have to experiment with this yourself. There is, limited things I can show. Okay, let me finish this SQL transformation. I told you guys to watch how to update a record without using update strategy for close to 10 days now. You guys didn't do it. Okay, short interview question. Please look into it. How to update a record without using update strategy. Okay. I'm going to show you SQL transformation, and then I'll end the class. SQL transformation. I've never used it in 12 years. Okay, but they'll ask me in the interview. I don't know why they ask an interview. So let me show you what it does. Let me create a table. Like the word SQL transformation, it means it can only work on tables. Okay, SQL. You cannot run an SQL statement on a flat file or an XML, right? It only works with tables. Okay, so let me create a table here. Underscore SQL. So employee number. I'll take next weekend. I want to do one class for all these clouds and Informatica cloud and AWS and MongoDB and all of that. So, but before that, try it. MPID, name. Started 215. Then MPID is going to be number. Insert into I'm going to create another table called create table net underscore SQL. ID number. Caption name varchar 215. And this one I'll insert some data. Insert into and comma IT. Let me ask you a question. How do you insert a record with, so when I execute this, my data will be loaded as IT, right? And I want data, when I execute this, I'll see sales. I want to see data like this. I want to see data like this. Because this is also a varchar field, right?
Oh, put
So how would I do it?
two columns, two codes.
I mean like this?
Yeah.
Let me first create this table. Okay. And let me create this table. Let me insert this row. This will not work.
No, it won't work like that.
Because it's already saying there is a red line here. So how will this work?
There is a special character that we used to put there in the.
You have to do it like this.
I think we did it one time.
Yeah, we did it one time. Why is it not working? Quoted string not properly terminated. Tony, you showed us a way, right? How to do that. You have to.
I remember. Yeah. We had only one time this issue at class.
Yeah. Remember when?
Yeah, we were doing concatenation.
Concatenation, yeah.
Yes.
Meenal's phone number is this, and
Yeah, we were doing phone number.
yeah. So you showed us something, and I showed another way, right? Why is it not working right now? Quoted string. So let me Google this error message. I thought I knew.
The Q operator, it was,
Yeah,
I
the
think,
Q operator.
in the square brackets.
Insert data with no quote SQL. Everything is there on Stack Overflow. Oh, something like this.
Abdul, I think I found it. So one time is gonna be 3 comma, one time is 1 comma.
Oh, okay. So it worked right now, actually.
Yeah, also it's gonna work with it one time, one side 3 comma, one side 1 comma, like a single quote, I mean.
Got it. Let me roll back. So yeah, that's what we did last time also.
Yeah, 3 of them. It's gonna work now.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thanks. Okay, so I have two tables. One is amp underscore SQL. Guys, everything is there on Google. Just know what to search for. Where is my 10 IT? Okay. Oh, I only have 15 minutes. Okay. So I have this data. Okay. I have 1 Abdul 10 to Yasser 20, 10 to 20 sales, 10 IT. I want to join. So I want to join these two tables and I want to load data into a single table. Create table amp underscore DEPT underscore SQL. So there are many ways you can do it. You can use joiner, you can use source qualifier transformation, you can use joiner, you can use lookup, you can use unconnected lookup, you can use all these options, right? So I'll show you one more way of doing it. So I will have amp ID number, amp name varchar 215. Depth ID is going to be number. Depth name is going to be varchar 215. This is going to be my target. Oh, wait, I'm missing. Okay. So I want to join this one and this one on this column and return 1, 2, 3 columns in the 4th column and load it into this. Okay. So I'm going to use SQL transformation for that. But SQL transformation we never use to join. It's used for some other purposes. Okay, but this is one thing which we will still use. We just, even though the feature I never used this to join two tables. Okay, but you should still know. So you have one source, and then you will have target. Okay, so I will say mapping create amp underscore DEPT underscore SQL underscore trans. Okay, let me drag and drop my source. I don't think it got. Amp DEPT underscore SQL. Okay, usually I can do a lookup or joiner or source qualifier transformation. Okay, but I'm going to use SQL transformation. Okay, it runs in two different modes, query mode and script mode. We are going to use query mode. Okay, and then the data type is, so you cannot join table from two different databases or two different companies like Oracle. It has to be the same database. Okay, so click OK. You'll get this SQL transformation. This is my okay. This is my input. Okay, and then I'll go to SQL ports. Okay, so my output ports, I'll create one new port. Okay, I will call this as depth_name. First thing you need to make sure when you're using SQL transformation is, the first thing you have to make sure that you have to provide the native type. See, Oracle data types and Powercenter data types are always different. So data types, these are all Powercenter data types. You have to provide the native data type. Native data type is what? Emp ID is what? Number, right? We created emp ID as number. Number varchar to number. So number. So you have to say number. Right? To say number. Emp name is varchar2, right? Varchar2. And this is going to be number. Clear? Is this clear to everyone? First thing you have to do is provide the native data types. So when you import the database, its number, see, automatically converts to double. N varchar2, it converts to n string. Number, it converts to double. So Oracle, the database data types and Powercenter data types are always different. Okay, you really don't have to worry about it. Powercenter will implicitly convert everything. You don't have to worry, but when you're using SQL transformation, you have to tell what is the native data type here. Okay, so you created an output port here. Okay, you created an output port. Okay, so we have employee ID, name, depth ID. Okay, you have employee ID, name, depth ID, and depth name. Okay, you can map it to the target. The first three will come directly from the source. So if you backtrack this, it is coming directly from the source. But if you look at depth name, it's an output port, right? You created this as an output port. So go to, so yeah, the native data type is again string, but emp name is varchar2 at the database level. Okay. What's the length? We created depth name as 15, right? Okay. So now, what is the logic behind this? Okay, what is the logic behind this? Okay. So you will type in, so select star from HR dot, what is my, it doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. So you will say emp ID, emp name, ID, emp name, depth ID, emp ID, emp underscore name, it's depth underscore ID. No, it's just depth. Okay, you will say where oh, sorry, you have to take this one. So over here you have depth ID and depth underscore name. Depth ID, depth underscore name. Where depth ID. Let me just execute this. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I will go here in my output. I will say depth ID equals to question mark, question mark. Let's say depth. Sorry, I messed up. Here, depth ID equals. Why is it overwriting? Depth. Okay.
Abdul, so where you said depth is equal to depth,
Yeah, so I'm saying
or
select
depth ID is equal to depth?
depth ID.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm saying select depth ID depth name from this table where depth ID equals to join this depth ID from the depth in Oracle and return don't return depth ID, just return depth name. Is that clear? I'm returning this depth name from this table after I'm joining depth and depth ID. Depth ID, say okay. And it's already mapped. Okay. So I'll go to mappings. You never join like this. I've never done it. But there is another use of this. When you run it in query mode, that's more useful. I'll show you that. But I still want to show the two different ways. This is the query mode. Then I'll show you the script mode. What is it called? Emp dept SQL. Emp dept SQL transformation. Okay. So how many connections will you have here? How many connections will you have here? You will have 3 connections. One, you're referencing a department table, and then the target table, 3 connections. One for the source, one for the target, and one for SQL transformation here. You have to say relational, and then you have to give a connection. Is this clear? Anytime you reference a database object, you have to provide a connection. Okay, so let me check the data now in the target database. Is this clear? How to join 2 tables using SQL transformation? This is your source SQL transformation. In the middle of the pipeline, you're running as joins. You're joining 2 tables in the middle of the pipeline. Okay, this is not something new, and nobody would use this. Okay, is this clear to everyone before I move on to script mode?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So let me go back to info shared SRC files. Okay, let me create a folder here. Call this as SQL_trans. I'm going to create 2 flat files. One is called DDL. One is called DML. One is called DDL and one is called DML. I'm going to create a table. So this table and data does not even exist when the mapping runs. In the middle of the mapping, I will create a table and insert data. Okay, so I'm going to create a table. Create table HR dot. I'm going to call this as emp_8_2_SQL_trans. Let's say emp ID number, emp name varchar 215. Let's say depth ID will be number. Here, so this table doesn't even exist in my database. It'll say table or view does not exist. Okay. If then I will have DML. Over here I will write insert statement. Insert into values 1 to 10. This becomes your SQL developer. Your notepad becomes your SQL developer now when you run it in query mode. Okay, the other one will be 2. Yes, here 20. Okay. Then I'll create a list file. Okay, I will have the location, I will have the complete path of ddl.txt. Okay, is this clear to everyone? Okay, so my source is going to be the list file. Okay, so don't select anything. See, next, finish. Next, I have 2 rows here. Field 1. Oh no, this is correct. Okay, so I will say over here I will say SQL and sorry, I will say DDL underscore DML. Okay, increase this to 100. Okay, so okay, Control S. My target is going to be a flat file. No, target is going to be a flat file, and I will say SQL. I'll just give it any name. SQL underscore trans. Create. Done. Over here, I'll create. One is the error message. I'll make this as string 9999. The other one is output. So when I'm running the DDL and DML in the middle of the pipeline, I want the output to be loaded to one saying that the message, the DDL and DML completed successfully, or the error message saying that table already exists or invalid character, whatever. So let's make this. Apply, say okay. Okay, let's create a mapping now. So m underscore emp underscore SQL underscore trans, or sorry, m underscore SQL underscore trans underscore query underscore mode. This would be better. Okay, I'm going to drag and drop my source. So I'm going to, what is my target called? SQL underscore trans. Okay. I'm going to bring back SQL transformation. This time I'm going to do script mode. Okay, click OK. See, I'm going to pass my script name here. The result, I'll pass it. Oh, it should have been result, not output. Okay, and error, I'll pass it to output. Okay, So what will happen when I run the workflow? The list file will execute this DDL, and it will execute the DML, and it will create data and create table and insert data. If there are any errors, it will load it to the error file. If there are no errors, this will be empty. Clear? So in other words, if you want to run a bunch of DDLs and DMLs in the middle of the pipeline, you can use SQL transformation. Once again, I've never used this. Okay. Sometimes somebody will give you a bunch of SQL statements and say, can you please automate this? Meaning, every day at 9 o'clock, I want to run this SQL statements. A good Informatica developer will take that SQL statements and convert it to mappings, like what Turab was doing. A lazy Informatica developer will take all the select statements, dump it into this query mode, dump it into the script mode, and that's it. Every day it will run, and it will send it as an email to that person. Is that clear? Is that clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to run a bunch of selects, so somebody says I have every day at 9 o'clock I have to run this select statement, 10 different select statements. Usually you should write a mapping for that, right? So select star from employee table where department ID equals to 10. I want to check all the employees in department. So you can actually import the structure of the source as table and then create a flat file, and in the filter you can do that. But if you're not if you're lazy, that person will not care how you do it, whether you do it as a source definition, source qualifier, target, or do it with the dump all the select statements into your SQL transformation. They don't care. Okay, so if you have a bunch of SQL statements, DDLs or DMLs, which you want to run in the middle of the pipeline, you can just do it with the help of script mode. Okay, this is the mapping. That's it. So let me create a workflow. Somebody typing messages. I don't know. Okay, so let me disconnect. Let me connect back. So SQL trans WF underscore SQL. No, this should have been script mode. I don't know why it said query mode. It's a script. WF underscore SQL. Why am I not seeing it? This one. Okay, first thing, make sure that this box is selected. Second thing, make sure that this is insert. Third thing, make sure stop on error is always 1. Fourth, make sure if this is not direct load, it's indirect load, and you're reading data from list file.txt, and your target. So where do you want to generate the output files? You can just say .txt. Okay, and this one you'll always have to say, because this is, you want to create a table in the database, right? So you have to give the connection which database you wanted. Once again, my table doesn't exist, right? My table doesn't exist right now. Execute this, it says table or view does not exist. Okay, it failed. Oh, I forgot to put the folder thing, SQL trans. That's a silly mistake. Okay, so it completed successfully. So if I execute the same select statement which previously did not exist, why does it say table or view does not exist? Why does it? It did something. Oh, there was an error. Reading data from ddl.txt could not open the script file. Create table. This create table. It tried to do. Oh, the problem is this all has to be in one line. See, it only read to the table thing. Now let's execute the next statement. Table or view does not exist. Why does it say that? Could not open the script file. Why does it say could not open the script file? Create table HR. There's something wrong with our create statement. Okay. Why does it say could not open it? Doc table. Let me quickly check. Okay, this is the last thing. We'll just end the class after this. Reading input files.
So, like permissions or
Could not open the script file. Create table. MPID number. So now it's reading till MPID number. Why is it not reading the? Oh. It. Should I? 100 should be more than enough, right? The length. $84. So this is the length is 84. Why is that a problem? Okay, let me just increase this to. No, something is wrong. You're not doing something. Could not open the script file. Create table MPID.
maybe we need to check the path. Is it looking at the right place?
No, it is looking at the right place because it's opening the create statement. Maybe permissions? I never had this issue.
Why it says create? It couldn't open because it says create table HR. It reads till number.
Yeah,
If you can't open it.
permissions are good. Give me 1 second, okay?
Abdul,
Yeah.
in list file, should we put the all location or just the file names?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I'm doing the same thing here. Let me look at my scripts.
The script only puts the names of the file.
So I have, what are they? Source files, path. I'm doing it in 2 separate lines here. And this is my mapping. Scripts, script name. Okay, something at the session level.
Do it on the separate rows. Maybe it's gonna accept
What separate rows?
the create table.
No,
Yeah.
I had it in separate rows only. Previously, I had it in separate rows only, right? Let me check. Maybe at the session level, I'm doing something incorrect. MDDL DML script mode. Oh, it's direct load. It's not indirect load. I don't know why I said. Okay, let me go back. You can have this in 2 separate lines. Okay, it can be in separate lines. It doesn't matter. Okay, that table doesn't even exist.
Did you do the undirect?
Yeah, I did indirect load before. Now I'm doing direct load, and I'm reading data from the list file. Okay, now it says 2 and 2. So if you do select star on the table got created and the data got loaded in the middle of the pipeline. Okay, now for example, so this is good, right? So let's go back and look at our output and error files which are generated. So go to source files, go to TGT files. Do you see where is my output files generated? My output files are generated at sql_trans.txt. So it will say past and past, DDL past and DML past. Okay, now let me try to let me drop the table again. Let me drop this table and try to recreate this by purposely failing it. Okay, I'll purposely fail it because I'll end this in like 2 minutes. Where is that SQL transformation? Over here, I will say I will not give the data type here. Okay, I'll not give this data type, or I'll give it some incorrect data type. I'll just say n instead of number. I'll just say n. Okay, I'm going to run this workflow now. So this will say succeeded, but when you do select star from this table, it says table or view does not exist. So you can go and check the target So SQL underscore trans over here, it will say create table invalid data type. See, it says invalid data type, and then the insert also will fail because table or view does not exist. Okay, so we'll go back and fix that. Here is my SQL. Okay, so let me go and fix this. Okay, over here, I will try to insert A. So table will be, so the first one will say passed and the bottom one will say fail. Okay, I'm going to run the workflow now. Infatiate TGT files. If you look at SQL transformation, see the create table passed successfully, but the insert failed because we're trying to insert alphabet into a number field. Say it says column not allowed here. Database driver here. So in other words, if you have a bunch of statements that you want to pass in the middle of the pipeline, DTL or DML, you can use SQL transformation. Is this clear to everyone?
Yes.
SQL script query mode. Okay, so we have like very few topics left over. So over here we are done with everything. Okay. Over here we are just left with HTTP and web services. Everything else is done. Okay, just these two transformations left. Then I need to show you some things on the repository manager side. You will have Unix. You will have Unix, autosys, Unix, and few other topics, interview preparation. I made a list of all the topics I still have to cover. Anybody has any questions?
I have questions.
Yeah, tell me.
Abdul, while I was like surfing in the mapping and like just looking for the some menus over there, also I was researching some. I saw that there are some wizards. It says that like by wizards, I think we can create the SCD2 type.
Yeah, don't use that. I mean, once you're very comfortable.
At the end of the like a class, I mean, at the end of the course, can you show us like for the sample in case that if we need?
No, I've never used it. I mean, you can check how the wizard works.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never used it. So even when I started this class, I never used this generate workflow, right? I never used any of these wizards, slowly changing dimension.
Because you know what, like here I see that like there are SC2 types and then there are like incremental values. Then as you remember that we had like a hard job, this SC2 type 2 and then dynamic lookup. So
We never use SCD type 2 with dynamic lookup cache. I've never used it in my life. We always use SCD type 2 with the regular lookup.
Okay, and
very rare.
And then one more thing that that last class, you remember we were talking about the XML. So I was creating the XML files. So two type, you showed us like a 2 version, right? Then it's XML to table. So the first version, my computer, I don't know if it is on my system or not. My computer, okay, my system doesn't accept the XML files if I am putting like you did it. Let's say like a first row employee, later than emp, later than you know, the data types.
So, yeah, so there is a difference when you're using XML as a source. And then when you're using XML as a XML parser, the syntaxes are different.
Oh,
The
I see.
syntax is different. So for example, I think I didn't say that yesterday. So yeah,
After 1 hour, I did all the ways that I tried. After 1 hour, I find out that it has to be on the line, like a one row. It
Yeah.
has to be all of them.
Yeah.
Then it's accepted.
so when you're using XML as a source, you need to have those additional tags. When you're using XML parser, that second time which I showed, you
Mhm.
need to just say simple one, like
Yeah, one row, one row, one
yeah,
row.
one row. Yep.
But the other one accepted. Like all of them, I put it one by one
Yeah.
under each other. Then it accepted.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe I have some issues. That's why I ask you.
No. So those are two different syntaxes. Okay. But once again, at work, they will not ask you to create. Okay. But you should know that you have options to load data from with two different ways.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. The syntaxes are different.
Okay.
Any other questions? But it's the same XML, but you just have additional tags when you import it as XML as a source.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not me. Thank you.
Anybody has any questions? So we have 4 more classes, and we should be done with that. Start your interview preparation, okay? So August 9th will be we have 4 more classes. So I want to cover next class. I just want to finish Powercenter. Next class will be the last class for Powercenter. Then I'll have one class for autosys. And then Saturday I will do Unix 3 hours. And then Sunday I will do some cloud, Informatica Cloud, Snowflake, MongoDB, extract data from Salesforce. Okay, that should be it. August 9th, and then from August 11th, we will start your mock interviews. I'm going to send, I'm going to upload an Excel. You have to provide the time slots. So August 10th onwards, we will have 2 interviews every day so 2 not for same person. I will do 1 round of interview on 5 days, and then second round of interviews, and then over here we will start your marketing. We will probably start your marketing from 17th. We don't want to wait anymore. After 1 round of interview, the second round of interviews will happen, but we will start submitting your resumes. And Adil wants to join the call on the 9th. So I'm going to invite him. So on the 9th, we will have like 15-20 minutes extra. If you have any questions, please talk to him, and we'll take it from there. Okay. Anybody has any questions? Sorry guys, I don't read messages. Okay. Okay. I'll end the class. Please end the class, and I'll upload the recording.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Bye.